Hello and welcome to another edition of Comics and Pop. I am one of your hosts, Jonathan Rosen, along with Troy Cannon and Captain Idarraga. And today we are going to talk about the finale to Hawkeye. And I have much to say on this. I will say it was right off. Before we get into anything in specifics, I did not love the finale as much as I know Troy did. I don't know Carlos's thoughts yet, but overall, I love the series. It was my favorite series on Disney Plus. A lot of stuff happened. We got lots of Kingpin. We got a lot of setup for the future of MCU things, and much to take in. But let's go take it away. We started with Troy last week, so Carlos, take us away. What are your thoughts?
So wait a second. You started off by saying that you know what Troy, how Troy feels about it, but you don't know how I feel about it.
You didn't mention it today.
Did you guys already have a conversation about this behind my back or something?
Well, Troy did it in our little conversation, in our little message thread.
I see. So since last week Spider-Los got us all those views, I figured we'd try Capitan Los this week. Yeah, that works out. But man, so final episode of Hawkeye was amazing. It was fantastic. I loved it. I mean, obviously, being a big Netflix Daredevil fan, to be able to see the Kingpin in it was pretty much what we wanted. To me, this episode, I mean, this series had what WandaVision didn't have. Basically, WandaVision, we wanted Mephisto, and we never got Mephisto. Even though it was good, and and Agatha along, and that was cute and stuff, we wanted Mephisto. This series, we wanted Kingpin, and we got Kingpin. So they delivered. So that was amazing. And obviously, D'Onofrio, we got D'Onofrio's Kingpin, which is, one of the best castings in the history of casting. And from what I've read, D'Onofrio was like really excited about it. When Feige, I guess Kevin Feige reached out to him personally, and he was like, ready to go and excited. So it's cool to see actors that that really want to do this. That are like they're like fanboys as well, and they're really into it and they want to do it. They're not just there for a paycheck. I mean, obviously they're getting paid well and stuff, but D'Onofrio,
he's a fan. He says he's
a fan. And I mean, he's a famous actor. It's not like, he's not like he's needing the money, right? So he, he's doing all right for himself. So the fact that to see him and his portrayal of the Kingpin is amazing. Even though it seemed a little different than the one in Daredevil.
Well, he did say they're the same character. He said it's the same character as Daredevil.
Yeah, it's the same character, but what I'm thinking is I'm wondering if it kind of seemed like he was like in Daredevil, he was more poised, like maybe he had been the Kingpin for longer, right? Where in this one he seemed a little more like on the street, like you didn't see that kind of Kingpin in the original Daredevil. Like he wasn't on the street, actually fighting, hoodlums on the street kind of deal. And this was, he was wearing, he was rocking the Hawaiian shirt and stuff, which is, and kind of like not the way he was in the Daredevil show. He was more, suit and tie, the whole spiel, where he was a little more casual, I guess. So maybe it was a younger version of the Kingpin, right? Like maybe it was just,
or it could just be after the beating he took from Daredevil in the Netflix show.
That could be too.
This is 5 years later.
Right. Oh, it's 5 years later?
This is Kingpin after the snap, when he rules New York now.
Right.
So he rules New York. So they said that he had become accustomed to being the man. That's why he was like, let's remind them who rules the city. Yeah. So it's supposed to be 5 years later.
Okay. So I mean, yeah, but okay, so that's cool. But it was definitely a little bit of a different take on the Kingpin. He was more violent, obviously. He was more, involved in stuff, which was cool. I think I already showed this already, because on a previous episode.
I can't wait to see what we got
being
now.
That this is Comics and Pop, Spider-Man number 50, first appearance of the Kingpin. Jonathan had to turn away because it's kind of this is a very important comic book to him, being an Amazing Spider-Man fan. And another one that I have here is obviously we got to I mean, speculate. We all know all them. If you're not here, let me take this off. It's guys, it's me. It was me all along.
I suspected.
But anyway, well, let me get Troy's I guess depiction of what he thought before I bring out this other beauty.
Well, as far as the show goes, this was my favorite episode of that show. It wasn't my favorite Netflix or Disney Plus series.
When I say favorite, I'm only talking about the Disney Plus ones. I'm not talking about the Netflix ones. I'm just going to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Just Disney Plus.
Yeah, Daredevil's still number one.
Yeah, because it's not really fair to count Netflix because those were done so well.
Right.
But the this one had a lot of fighting in it. I think a superhero movie, if you're a guy that's going to put on a crazy outfit and go on the street and beat people to sleep, there should be a lot of that in your story. And they brought it this time. I mean, I like the Kate Bishop, Hawkeye versus the tracksuits. I like the Belova versus Hawkeye. I liked all of the fight scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And it made sense. They showed why it is that those goofy tracksuits are running a portion of the city. It's not just 4 of them. There were like 1,000 of those dudes.
Mm-hmm.
There were trucks just kept coming in and they just kept pouring out. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's why they run the city, because they're everywhere. They make a phone call and, you get a truckload of them. It's, if you don't have a superpower, you're catching a beating. There's no way that you can survive that. So I like that. I like the aspect. I like the physicality. And I loved the Kingpin fight. Because in the comics, he always says that he has big, flat muscles like a sumo wrestler, and it's not fat. But I've seen sumo wrestlers. I was in Japan for a while and I saw them. Those guys are fat. So, so he's like, oh, I'm not fat, it's muscle. I was like, you can call it what you want to call it, but you're not doing Pilates. We know. So
we're not fat shaming sumo wrestlers, just so you know.
I don't want to lose our sumo audience.
Wrestlers.
Exactly. We have a lot of sumo guys watching this show.
But if I had to race an athlete, it would be a sumo wrestler. If I had to race somebody.
I still might lose, by the way, if we're racing a sumo wrestler.
So
I need a head start.
In the comics, he can fight Spider-Man. And he's fought Daredevil and he's fought other superpowered people. And it's because he has so much muscle that he's almost superhuman. Not quite superhuman, but almost. And people see the fat and the girth and they're like, I better take it easy with this guy. And then all of a sudden you got like a size 18 in your face. I like that. I like the fact that he had the cane. He's got the cane now. It was always missing, but he's got it. So I'm hoping, maybe after he sees some Stark Tech, he can stick a laser in there and he'll be full on Kingpin. That would be cool. But I like the fact that she shot him with an arrow. And he didn't have the protective suit on. He just had a Hawaiian shirt. And he looked at it and kind of yanked it out like, come on, kid, are you really going to make me kill you? And he just came at her. He snatched a car door right off the door. And I'm thinking, well, you got to be pretty close to superhuman to do that. So they leaned into his abilities. And I like that. He practices the martial arts and stuff, but he's not getting his foot up that high, so he's not kicking people in the face or nothing like that. But he is a trained fighter. And with all that size and girth, he's dangerous. So when he was swinging Kate around, I was like, he gonna kill that little girl. She better get out of there. But, she's the hero, so she survived. But I like that about the show.
Well, here's some of the things, my thoughts right off. First of all, I don't even know why we're talking about this when the reports this week of Andrew Garfield going to be in Doctor Strange, but that's another episode. But let's go back to Kingpin. Like I said, I love the series. It's definitely my favorite series of the Disney Plus Marvel ones. There, I was a little disappointed in some of the aspects here. I thought Kate Bishop defeated Kingpin too easily in some of the things, and he's definitely kicking her ass all through the episode. But I thought at the end it's too easy compared to how I know the Kingpin, how I've seen the Kingpin, how we saw him on Netflix, and he's going toe to toe to Daredevil, and all of a sudden like he's just taken down by this girl who has not trained that long to be a hero. So that's it. I thought they wasted a little bit of the swordsman. We all waiting for like some big moment from the swordsman. He got it, he fought, but they kind of like threw his character away after building it up to the whole series. Like, I'm waiting to see what this guy's going to do, and I felt a little bit down with that. And but like you said, I overall liked it when she shot him at the end, as like, there's no way they're bringing him back just to like throw him away in one episode. So so we know he's not dead. We're going to probably see him wherever he shows up, probably in the Echo series, probably temporarily blind like in the comics. But I was disappointed that we didn't get that at the end. And then the post credits, here's my big thing. The post credits, I'm waiting and waiting, and I get the song. That's the big thing. That's the big moment that they're giving us at the end, just the full song. I thought it was cute, but then I was like, okay, but they're going to give us one more. I mean, they give us the song. That's a funny thing, but they're going to give us one more at the end. And I'm sitting there watching all the credits go, and that was it. So I was disappointed with that aspect of it, but I can't complain overall. I did love the series. I love the way that it did end, that he brought her back to his ranch. We get Mockingbird. We get confirmation of that with the watch, the Agent 19. So I was all happy with that part, but I did not feel that the finale lived up to the first 5. So I love the series, but I just was a little bit disappointed at the end.
So a couple of things just to follow up on a couple of points that you made. Supposedly, I was reading around and they were saying that there was a lot of people that they wanted to see like the whole the ending, like that whole the whole Broadway sketch. I guess some people were wanting to see that. I mean, maybe not as the ending, as the after credit scene, but people were asking to see like the whole the whole production, to see what it was like. So I guess supposedly. From my understanding, that's not what they wanted to do, but they were like, "What the hell? Let's put it as because it's a Christmas whatever, right? And let's give it let's put it so it could be like like a nice ending, whatever." But I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wanted to see Daredevil. I wanted to see something. Obviously, I wanted to see a true Marvel style after credits that leaves us, okay, this is what's going to happen next, or it hints something else, right? Whether it be the new Echo series, whether it be Daredevil coming into the MCU, whether it could have been Mockingbird, whatever. And the cool thing, right, that when they showed the Agent 19, obviously Mockingbird was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and she worked closely with Nick Fury, and I believe she had a first appearance in this guy right here, which is a Marvel team up. And it's funny how all these characters, they all link to Spider-Man, Mockingbird, Kingpin, Punisher. A lot of these characters are linked to Spider-Man, which makes sense because Spider-Man, is in the city. That's he's in New York City, and that's where Daredevil and a lot of these characters, all the Netflix style Defenders are all.
I even thought we were going to get a little thing of Spider-Man swinging by at the end. So
that could have been cool too. I mean, like I said, but anything, right? I mean, like I said, it was cool and stuff, but it was too. I didn't need to see that. I wanted to see something that'd be like, oh my god, this is an after credit scene like like we're used to seeing.
I think that they did it a little bit because they said at the beginning of this series that they want people to like watch this like every Christmas, and so it was like a Christmas feel throughout. And if people are going to watch this every Christmas, a post-credit scene of showing what's next for Marvel will be dated at the end, because that's not what this was about. This was about like a whole holiday feel. He gets home for Christmas with his family, so they didn't want to put it. But I was still left disappointed a little bit.
But at the same time, I could definitely promise you that that's the first and the last time that I'll ever watch that.
I might watch Hawkeye again just because when
the Hawkeye I'll watch, but I'm saying the after credit scene.
Same here.
Hawkeye I will watch again, absolutely.
Here's the thing, right? The song was called "I Can Do This All Day,"
Yes.
but just Captain America himself, Bucky, and Iron Man were the only people who ever actually heard him say it. So how do they make a whole song out of something that basically nobody ever heard him say? It was cool that they, I can do it all day. That was cool. But I'm thinking, who told them that? Who told them he could do it all day? What was that all about? And my thing, something I was wondering, you guys may not be aware of this, but I have another channel. And on that channel, I spoke about this certain thing. It's crazy, right? The guys, the LARPers, the live action role play guys.
I did love them, by the way, in this.
They are in Hawkeye. They are super villains. Those are the death throwers. They're guys that they're jugglers and stuff like that. And they were like street performers. Mm-hmm. LARPers today would be LARPers. Street performers who used to juggle stuff. When they decided to make some money, robbing banks, kill Hawkeye. For some reason, I can't remember why they wanted to kill Hawkeye, but they would throw stuff. One guy was good at throwing pinballs. Another one had knives and axes, stuff like that. And the woman, the black chick with the hair hanging over her eye, she was the cop. She's like, yeah, I'll get that stuff for you. I don't mind. That chick her name is Wendy Conrad, I think. And she's Wendy Conrad, the exact same name in the thing. So that's one of the things that caught my eye. And the lead guy, I can't remember what his name was, but they all had weird names like Pinball and whatever, but they're villains. But in the show, they're good guys and they're helping them. But when they said, when they're like, we can get a costume made for you. We're getting some done ourselves. I was like, oh, this is it. They're going to be the villains or another group of villains. They had a lot of villains in this. But I'm like, they're going to be another group of villains. And then they didn't. But at the end, they're like, okay, it's time to put the costumes on. And I'm like, there it is. They're going to be villains. Here it comes. And they came out in like these weird LARPing costumes. And I'm like, well, that's not right. But I was expecting them. But they already had like 5 or 6 different villains. They had the Kingpin. They had Echo. They had the Russian kid that was, I guess, dating Echo. They had the tracksuit mafias, they had Belena, they had the swordsman, they had the mother, they had all kinds of villain action happening. It didn't seem that they could throw an entire group of supervillains in there, but they just kind of goofed around and played with it, which was.
I think it's going to be better. I think it's better this way that they have them there for like a kind of comic relief type thing. I thought they were fun. I really did think that they were fun when they get the costumes on and everyone listened to them because they had the costumes on. I did enjoy them. I would like to see them. I hope there is a second season. They're kind of like skirting around the issue with that. They said Loki's the only one so far that they confirmed will be a season 2, but this one is like they haven't said no. So I am hoping that because I do want to see them again. I do want to see Clint again. So I don't want that to be the end of him. I don't want it to just be, Kate Bishop being Hawkeye from now on without him involved as well. So I do want to see that. But we've all been saying it straight through. I mean, we're heading for the Young Avengers.
Yes. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, who knows if they'll do a season 2? I mean, obviously it was. I mean, this is depending on the success of this, which I'm pretty sure is very successful. But I don't think. I think if they do a season 2, it'll probably lead more towards Kate Bishop as Hawkeye and Clint Barton be more in
mentor role.
Right, in the mentor role if he's in it at all. I mean, also Mockingbird. Why not to get Mockingbird involved and stuff, right? I mean, she seems.
Well, I'm sure she'll be involved if he's
right. Exactly. And another thing that I caught too, I think the tracksuit mafia. I think in the comics they were called the tracksuit vampires or something like that. I think it was different. I don't know why, but it was called. I think it was called the tracksuit vampires. But I mean, I would love to see a season 2 of this. Because there's so much they can do to it, and there's so many street level thugs and heroes that they can add, right? Yeah. But at the same time, they also said that they're going to do Daredevil. So I mean, listen, you got Daredevil, Iron Fist, Power Man, you got Jessica Jones, you have all these characters that you can reintroduce and add them to the MCU. So there's so many ways they can go with this, man.
Well, first of all, that little was just that little van with the owl. I think those criminals are going to be eaten by that owl.
They better hope they change back soon.
Yeah, that was great.
But I did love, like I said, I love the whole series. I would love to see, there are so many heroes that we can introduce now because of this. The only problem is that it's never going to get, Disney's never going to let it get like to when it was on Netflix, that level of violence that we, that made Punisher, that made Daredevil. They showed the brutal side of, being a hero. Like Disney's never going to let that level of violence go. And that's a shame because I do want to see that with Daredevil.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because it's Disney. I mean, it's Disney Plus, but I mean, the last night's episode was pretty violent. I mean, it wasn't.
They were fighting, but it wasn't the violence.
Right. It wasn't Punisher. Right. Like in Punisher and Daredevil, like they're murdering people. So I mean, Daredevil's not, but Punisher definitely is.
Punisher is. Well, he said, they asked Bernthal to be back now, and he said he doesn't want to. He wants to, but doesn't want to water down the character either.
Right, exactly. So who knows what they'll make? I mean, maybe they'll take it on the big screen. Who knows? Maybe it'll be more of have them on the big screen, not on TV.
Well, I mean, just think back to the Netflix. Daredevil was like punching guys until they're like blood splurting from faces.
No, absolutely.
They're not. Disney's not going to be doing that.
Yeah, no, Daredevil, Punisher. I mean, those are rated R, style shows and stuff. So, I mean, who knows? I doubt that Disney will do that. Who knows how they'll take the characters, but at the same time, they showed last night's episode. It was still pretty violent. I mean, the thing about Disney that I've noticed about the MCU and Disney is like they always, which I love, obviously, is they always combine the action and the grittiness, and they always throw in a little comedy in there, like a little comedic take. So I mean, even the Tracksuit Mafia guys, those guys were hilarious.
They were funny. Yes.
Right, when she's beating the guy up, and he's like, "Oh no, wait, thank you for the advice. The advice you gave me with my girl and stuff. So, that's always kind of cool that they make it a little cheeky, but it's still, even though she told him that, she still beat the crap out of him. So it was cool.
They could use. Now, what I was thinking was, because there's what's the guy? Deadpool is coming.
Yeah,
Deadpool is eventually coming, and shoving a sword through somebody's shoulder blade and rib cage is pretty adult. So I was thinking.
I read this week that Daredevil may be coming a lot sooner than we anticipated.
I hope so. I want to see somebody get billy clubbed.
We may be seeing him in Doctor Strange, but we got to talk about that another episode.
Another episode. But they Disney's got the adult side. I want to say it was Miramax, but I think it's Touchstone. And Touchstone. They've got their adult side, so they could have Disney Plus, and then maybe they'll throw a few in Touchstone. Because I don't know how they would not show Deadpool killing people unless they took it way over the top comedy, and like you'd see the sword and he'd look at the screen and go, "Uh-oh," or something like that. But I'm thinking he's probably going to be killing people.
Well, even in his movies, he killed people with comedy also, for the most part. Not always.
He did, but you knew those guys were dead.
Right. Yes.
Heads cut off.
Yeah, his stuff was, it was violent. It was really violent. Deadpool was really violent.
Yeah.
Deadpool was more violent than Daredevil and the Punisher.
Yeah, with jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
I do want to see, like I said, I was really happy with all the way this went. I would love to see now. I don't know what they're going to do. What's the next series? What's the next one that they're saying now in Marvel? What are we waiting for? What's the next one?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Echo's not till next year. I mean, right?
Right. Echo's
at the end. I mean, toward the end of the year. It was.
I guess it would be Echo.
Is that the next one?
Maybe the second season of Loki. Maybe.
Second season of Loki would be good.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was fan made art or not, but I saw a logo for the Doctor Strange movie, and on the logo it had America Chavez and it had Loki. Loki was on the cover, but it could be fan made. I don't know. I guess we'll know in a month or two, when they start rolling that stuff out. But that would be pretty cool if Loki was in it, because he's got to do with the multiverse now. I mean, he's sitting in the what is the ATV, the AVA? He's sitting in there, you know, but just him and himself. I guess
I'm reading here that Echo's probably not till 2023. So I don't know what series they have coming out in 2022.
I don't know. I think it's mostly movies that are coming out in 2022. I don't know of any. I don't know of any series that they're.
That's like poor planning, because these Marvel
animated
series were like
stuff. Maybe some animated. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, maybe they figure we're going to be back at the theaters, and they don't have to put that stuff out now, because they put a lot of it out because we were all stuck in the house.
Yeah, but these are different audiences. I mean, these are different things, because you're not going to make. They weren't going to make this Hawkeye a movie. They probably wouldn't have done well. So you had the same thing with Loki. I don't know how Loki would do as a movie, you know. So who knows? And no one was going to go see a What If movie. So the only one is, you know, the Captain America Winter Soldier. That people, you know, they set this up for their movie, but the other ones were not getting a movie. So they do have different audiences there too. So if they don't have anything coming out for Disney Plus, all these things, because people are like looking forward to these every few months, another Marvel series. So if they don't have anything coming out soon, that's, to me, that's poor planning, but I don't know.
Well, Disney Plus also has Star Wars, man. They got Boba Fett coming out next week, so that's gonna be that's huge, you know. So Disney Plus is chilling. They don't care, you know. They have, you know, they're holding all the money. So, you know, December 29th, you know, everyone's gonna be watching Boba Fett, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna be talking about that.
Yes,
too,
we will.
So
we talked Iron Fist like 10 seconds ago for about 10 seconds. And the thing, when I think about Iron Fist, the show was horrible. I did not like the show. But a lot of people that I spoke to that don't follow the comics or don't know a lot about the comics were wondering, why did they change Danny Rand from an Asian guy to a white guy? And I was like, nah, he's always been a white guy.
He's always been that.
He's always been that. And they're like, well, it doesn't make sense. You know, he comes from China. And I'm like, nah, that's not where he was at. They completely didn't know, but there apparently was, just not between the people I was talking to, but apparently there was an uproar about that. And Disney, since Iron Fist is a title, they're taking it away from Danny Rand and they're giving it to an Asian character.
Yes, I read that too.
You heard about that? To satisfy the
I
audience.
didn't hear that.
And that,
to satisfy the PC crowd.
That,
yes.
Yeah. If they do that, then of course in the movies they're going to introduce an Asian Iron Fist.
Yeah.
So maybe he's going to be Asian in the new series. I think that's stupid. I mean, it was, you know, the thing was he was a goofy rich kid.
Right.
And he, you know, it played well. Look, it wasn't just, you know.
I agree. I think all that stuff is stupid. You know, that they cater to, you know, the outcry on whatever Twitter does. And, you know, Twitter doesn't speak for everyone. The only thing that I did not like about Iron Fist is, I don't care who plays him, I didn't think he was a good actor. That was the only.
Right. The kid who played him was horrible.
Right.
Yeah. And he or his stuntman sucked. The karate, and when I watched Daredevil, it looked like Daredevil could beat the brakes off somebody. When I watched Iron Fist, I was like, I don't think so. It didn't look like he was really beating people up, you know?
Well, all the other, I mean, I love the casting. I think all those Netflix things got the casting right. All their leads. I mean,
that messed up. Yeah, that was the only one that messed up.
Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, they were fantastic. And you know, Charlie Cox, of course. I think all those, and Bernthal. I mean, what is the Punisher? I mean, there's no like doubt about that. He was fantastic too. I think all of them did well in the casting, except for the Iron Fist. But you know, I do hate the idea of taking it away just because, you know, the Twitter mob, you know, starts saying this is what we want.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't make any sense. There's a rumor that Brad Pitt's going to be Black Panther, by the way.
I know. I pay to see that.
Marvel shouldn't be listening to the audience unless they're listening to us.
Right.
I mean, we know what's going on.
Exactly. So what do we want to see next? What do we want to see next from this? From the characters, from Hawkeye, the characters, and MCU in general. Well, let's talk about the Hawkeye. What do we see next from these characters? From what happened here, the fallout from here.
So from what happened here, I guess obviously, you know, we're gonna see a spinoff into Echo, right? So that's coming. We know that Echo is coming. I I mean, I guess the development of Kingpin, I liked. I thought her character was really cool. She was, she was smart. She was funny. Uh, so I would like to see her develop into Hawkeye and become I guess become the next Hawkeye. That's who she's gonna be. So maybe develop into like which is coming hopefully the Young Avengers. And you're gonna have Yelena is gonna be the next Black Widow, right? So because obviously Black Widow's dead. So I'd love to see what they do with that. With the Young Avengers and obviously the Kingpin and the coming of Daredevil and how are they going to do it if it's going to be his own show. And I mean, there's so much, man. Punisher, but like you said, I mean, hopefully they don't water it down because it's Disney and they keep it gritty. But yeah, I mean, all those street level heroes, man, those are probably some of the best reads in the comic book world. Those Daredevil stories, Punisher stories. There's a lot of ways you can go with the Punisher. There's an arc in the comics where the Punisher he takes the War Machine and he puts a big Punisher sign on it and he becomes the War Machine, the Punisher War Machine. That's amazing. It's like one of the coolest arcs in the comic books. Could you imagine them doing that? That'd be sick, So I mean, there's so many things they can do.
Troy, what are you gonna see next?
Well, here's the thing. When I read the comics or when I watch the cartoons or the movies, one of the things I always think is, how dangerous would I be if I had that Infinity Gauntlet? How dangerous, how good of a superhero would I be if I had that shield and those Vita Rays and that super soldier serum? I always put myself in the place of them and wonder what kind of damage could I do being a regular Joe, and then suddenly
we had the Infinity Gauntlet. We'd be using it on things like ultimate, unlimited wings and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be good. And I'd never get full until I was ready.
Right.
I could eat as many as I wanted, and they would go in, and then they would just enter another universe or something.
Exactly. Yes.
You know what? There was a girl in high school that said no to me for the prom with that Infinity Gauntlet. Oh yeah, we're going to revisit that. We're going to revisit that.
I bet she's sorry she turned down Bison Muscle now, isn't she?
She is. I'll bet she is. So here's the thing. If I were one of those guys, I would do things slightly different because that's how my mind works. If I were Kingpin and I was really upset with Hawkeye, I probably wouldn't hire people to beat him up or, attack his children or something. If I really wanted to get him, I would release information on all the people that he's killed. And I would have
Didn't he do that in the comics around there? That Kingpin
he did it with Daredevil.
Right.
Yeah. He did it with Daredevil. He told everybody it was Matt Murdock and the whole nine. You release that. That's why those guys wear masks. And that's why he's like, oh, I don't want a fancy suit. He stays in the dark. He stays in the shadows. He doesn't want anybody to know. I would release all that information and maybe a little bit at a time because I want it to be hot. Oh, he killed Joe? Oh man, oh, that sucks, and have an uproar. And then be like, oh yeah, by the way, he killed Frank too. I would just release things generally and get the police and the FBI and maybe even the Avengers on his case. Because if you think about it, he's a good guy today. But both him and Natasha were slaughtering people. She blew up somebody's kid. We all saw the movie. They're like, is it clear? And she's like, yeah, it's clear.
Yeah.
She knew there was a little kid in there. She's like, blow it up. He's killed people. She's killed people. And he even tells Kate, yeah, I'm a weapon. It's just, lucky that the right people have been aiming me at the wrong. He doesn't know that. He's just been shooting people because I told him he didn't know they were the wrong people. I would have legislation take care of Hawkeye. I put him in so much legal trouble because you can't punch legal trouble. He can't shoot an arrow at legal trouble. He can't outrun it. He can go to Nevada. Cops are in Nevada. He can go to Texas. Cops are in Texas. There's no place he could go. That's what I would do. So that's what I would like to see the Punisher do. The Punisher's got, like he said, I have to remind them who runs the city. If he runs the city, if he's the true Kingpin, he should have judges, cops. I would put that kind of a thing on Hawkeye. And I think another series where Hawkeye isn't just shooting arrows at people, but he's got to try to get through it and becomes almost a Civil War type thing. Because maybe one or two of the heroes are like, hey man, I'm sorry, the government said, like when Rhodey they told him to arrest the Avengers, but he turned the machine off and he's like, oh, that's court martial. Even though he didn't do it, he's going to go to jail too. So, and Captain America was like, hey man, we got to do it. And Iron Man's like, no, I don't want to. And they all fought each other. I think that kind of a thing would happen with Hawkeye because he has killed a lot of people and just got away with it. So that would suck.
I always take it though. You said with Natasha, like in Hawkeye, like is it clear? It's like she doesn't even want to bother. Yeah, it's clear. Go, yeah, shit. That's what you got. Yeah, it's fine.
She sees the ponytails and everything. She's like, yeah, go.
Yeah, it's fine. Do what you got to do. It's like she's smiling her nails.
So technically, he's responsible for that too because he was the trigger man.
Right. But I do. I want to see more Hawkeye.
Troy's funny, bro. Troy wants to sick the law on him. Troy ran Marvel. He's like, wait a second. Is Daredevil paying his taxes? Let's go to the IRS. Let's get the IRS.
Well, that's how they took down
Capone. Get him on back taxes or something like that. It's actually funny because I think in the comic books right now, in the current Daredevil run, Fisk is he's the mayor of New York City now.
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
You don't want any of that. Lex Luthor was the dangerous to Superman when he became president.
I just gotta say, I take Wilson Fisk as New York's mayor over De Blasio, but that's just, all right. But yeah, I definitely got to see more Kingpin, like we've all been saying. I want to see that in the future. I mean, I was really disappointed yesterday, even though like I know they're going for the comic book storyline, but like, you don't bring D'Onofrio back for like one episode and then like kill him like a little bitch. You're like, oh, I'm going to shoot you in the street. Like, so I want to see more of that. I do want to see, like you guys say, I want to see the street level heroes. I want to see Luke Cage. I want to see Daredevil. I got to see Jessica Jones also. I mean, I love these characters. I love them from the Netflix shows. So I would love to see more of that, exploring more of that. What's next? But mostly I got to see Kingpin. I really want to see Kingpin, strut his stuff and, wreak havoc on the city.
I would bet a shiny nickel that he's coming back because her Echo catching him in the alley was verbatim what happened in the book. Family affair, verbatim. The words she said when she's pointing the gun, it's the script from the book. She said exactly what the book was like. Now, he didn't say what the book said, but she did. And then she shoots him. She's like, I'll take care of him. And she leaves, but he doesn't die, and so I'm thinking that's going to happen because it was just like the book. She shot him. She probably figured out, I got him. But he, like I said, he's a giant. You shoot him in the head. Maybe it doesn't kill him. Maybe it does. And she shoots him and leaves. And then his guys, because he runs New York, his guys come and like, hey, here's the boss. You guys want to get paid next week? We better take him to the hospital. So they get him out of there. So I think he's going to be back.
Well, to be fair, we didn't even see her shoot him. We don't even know that she shot him. I mean,
that's true.
We just heard the gun blast. We don't know what happened after that, So, and the same, and that's one of the things that did bother me is, the Kingpin always has people around. He always has his henchmen around, or henchwomen, whatever the case may be. And he's just walking the streets alone there, at the end. I know all the Tracksuit Mafia was like all busy with Hawkeye, but a couple are not going to stay with Kingpin.
That's a good point. Maybe this is where he starts hiring his hitmen to stick around him, Bullseye and stuff like that.
I would like to see Bullseye in here too. That's a good.
That's a good thought.
But what do we want to see next in overall with the MCU with this?
Overall, did we just say what we wanted to see?
But that's from the Daredevil. Oh, that's from the Hawkeye characters. All right, so we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it with this. I don't know. And overall, like I said, this was my favorite of the Disney series. I did love this. I'm going to be disappointed. I'm going to be going through withdrawal not to have a new, Marvel series coming out very soon. But this was a good one to leave us off with for the time being.
Yeah, I think Boba Fett will make me feel better for the time.
Well, I'm upset with Mandalorian, but that's another episode. We'll get to that one. But anyway, let us know your thoughts. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, what you like, what you didn't like about Hawkeye, what you want to see next from these characters, and where do you want to see them being taken to. And
you know what I want to see, actually, to be honest with you? What I want to see, since, what I really want to see in the, this is what I want to see come up in the, this is what I want. We need him back.
You know, this reminds me, you remind me now of like the Bobby Lee in 24 when he had the little dancing robot.
That's what I want to see, a little Iron Man action. Bring him back.
We'll talk about all that. We'll talk about the Iron Man in the next episode of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness trailer breakdown. But
You got to do a zombies one.
yeah, that's a good idea. But anyway, happy holidays to all of you. Thank
Happy
you.
holidays,
Happy
everybody.
holidays.
Subscribe.
Right, to all of our subscribers, and we thank you for watching and tuning in.
One last thing. I don't think Santa's bringing anything to the people who haven't subscribed to our channel.
Lots of coal.
No subscription, no presents.
Exactly. But thank you again. This has been Comics and Pop. I'm Jonathan Rosen, along with Troy Cannon and Carlos Idarraga. Happy holidays, and please subscribe. Thank you.
Subscribe.